Dogecoin. You know it. You've seen the memes. The crypto that literally started as a joke and then somehow took over the internet. But now we've got to ask a serious question. What is the actual future of Dogecoin? Is it just a meme forever? Is it a wild, high-risk moonshot? Or is it actually turning into real, usable money? Well, let's dive in and figure out what's really going on. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at its wild origin story. Then, of course, we have to talk about the Elon Musk effect. After that, we're going to get serious and look at the corporate encoding efforts trying to give it real-world purpose. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how global rules are changing the entire game. So let's start at the very beginning. Okay, first things first. To really get where Dogecoin might be heading, you have to understand where it came from. And its roots are buried deep in internet culture. I mean, seriously, this thing was never meant to be a big financial asset. It was a joke. It was created to be fun, to be friendly, and to kind of poke fun at how serious the crypto world was getting. But then, something totally unexpected happened. People loved it. That fun spirit created this massive, super passionate community. And here's the crazy part. It's outlasted thousands of other crypto projects that were way more serious but are now long gone. And this table really puts it all into perspective. I mean, look, since Dogecoin came out, a whole universe of meme coins has popped up. You got Shiba Inu, you got Pepe, so many others. But Dogecoin is still the original. It's the heavyweight champ of the whole category it created. And hey, pay attention to that last column, that infinity symbol next to its supply. That's a huge deal. It means it's not designed to be scarce like Bitcoin, and that changes everything. Now, let's be real, you can't have a conversation about Dogecoin without talking about its biggest, most famous supporter, Elon Musk. For a long time, his tweets were basically rocket fuel for the price. But has that started to change?
It is wild to see the shift, right? Back in 2021, a single tweet from the guy could send Doge soaring 30% in just a few minutes. The market was electric. Now you flash forward to today, and a similar tweet might get a shrug or even cause a little dip. So what gives? Well, the market's just grown up a bit. There's a bit of hype fatigue, you know? People are being more careful, a little more rational, and they aren't just jumping on every little thing.
So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? If a tweet from the Doge father himself doesn't move the needle anymore, is that it? Is the hype train over? Is the rocket finally out of fuel? Well, not exactly. And here's the thing. While the power of his tweets might be fading, his involvement is getting way more literal. Check this out, the Doge 1 mission. This is a real satellite, fully paid for with Dogecoin, that's scheduled to launch on a SpaceX rocket. This is not just a tweet anymore. This is a massive, real-world publicity stunt designed to literally send Dogecoin to the moon. So while one side of the Dogecoin story is literally shooting for the stars, there's another side that's trying to build something way more down to earth. And this is where we pivot hard, away from the memes and the moonshots and into the world of corporate strategy. Because there's a serious company working behind the scenes, building a real foundation for Doge's future. And this quote right here from Marco Margiotta, the CEO of an entity called House of Doge, well, it says it all. This is the vision. They're not focused on the meme. They are laser focused on turning Dogecoin into a functional, global currency that actually works. And it's not just talk. They have a very clear four-part plan. First, they want to get listed on the NASDAQ, a major stock exchange, to get access to public markets. Second, build a real payment system. We're talking wallets, debit cards, the whole shebang. Third, create investment products like ETFs for the big money institutional players. And fourth, get into tokenizing real-world assets, or RWAs, which is basically a fancy way of saying you can represent stuff like real estate on the blockchain. And if you want to know just how serious these guys are, get a load of this number. The House of Doge manages an official treasury with over 730 million Doge in it. That makes them one of the biggest institutional holders of Dogecoin on the entire planet. They have some serious firepower to make their plan happen. But here's the cool part. This push to make Dogecoin useful isn't just some top-down corporate thing. It's actually more like a two-pronged attack. While House of Doge is building the business side, there's another huge push happening from the ground up with the open source community and the Dogecoin Foundation. Yeah, this is the stuff that doesn't make headlines. You know, it's not flashy, but it's absolutely crucial. We're talking about the real nuts and bolts, the code, the libraries, the infrastructure that lets people actually build stuff with Dogecoin. So a perfect example is something called GigaWallet. It might sound a little techy, but trust me, the idea is super simple.
It's basically a tool that makes it incredibly easy for any business, whether it's an online shop or your local cafe, to start accepting Dogecoin payments without needing to be a blockchain genius. It's a practical solution for the real world.
And GigaWallet is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The goal here is to make Dogecoin super easy to build on. You have projects like LibDogeCoin, which are like digital Lego blocks that anyone can use to create new Dogecoin products. And by moving all this work to decentralized platforms, they're making sure that no single person or company can ever shut it down. It's all part of the quiet, essential work that builds something that can truly last.
Okay, so we've got the meme culture, and we've got this two-sided push for real-world utility. But there is one giant external force that's going to affect everything, no matter what, and that is global regulation. Let's just say the Wild West days of crypto are pretty much over.
And look, this isn't something that might happen someday. It is happening right now. This timeline shows a huge wave of regulation is sweeping across the world. You've got massive new rulebooks like MiCA in Europe. The US is making moves on stablecoins, and countries everywhere are rolling out new licensing requirements. Basically, governments are finally setting the official rules of the road for this entire industry.
So, here's the bottom line on this. It doesn't matter how great the community is or how smart the corporate plan is. Dogecoin, just like everyone else, has to play within the rules of this new, structured global financial system. Playing by the rules isn't optional, and that's going to define what's even possible.
And that brings us to the end. When you put all of these pieces together, the memes, the moonshots, the corporate plans, and the global rules, it's pretty clear that Dogecoin is standing at a major crossroads. It has two very, very different futures ahead of it.
On one path, Dogecoin stays as a cultural asset. Its value comes from hype, from community, from social media. It stays volatile, maybe a bit of a roller coaster, but it's powerful in its own way. It's the people's currency in spirit. But on the other path, it becomes a real utility currency. Its value comes from being used for payments and finance. It becomes stable, functional. It becomes the people's currency in practice.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question. For more than a decade, Dogecoin has done what nobody thought it could. But now it has to face its biggest challenge. Can it actually evolve past its funny origins without losing the magic that made it famous? Will it finally transform into a serious financial tool, or will the joke always be its greatest strength? We'll have to wait and see, but one thing's for sure, the next few years are going to be fascinating to watch.